wanting to write a book for a long time. But as opposed to being stuck in a cycle with one book idea or feeling like you keep getting blocked every time you sit down to write, the problem is actually that you can't figure out which book idea you should choose to write first. Which one would be the best one to build that foundation on for future books? And which one would really lead to that desired outcome you have for yourself as an author? I'm Caitlin Silva, and I help Christian women to finally write and publish their best-selling book and use that as a tool for impact, for authority, for accomplishing their God-given purpose, whatever that vision might look like through their book. In the last few years, I've personally written and published 11 books and counting, some under a pen name, with 4 bestsellers. And so I can tell you that I've been around that rodeo of trying to figure out which book to write, which one to focus on, and then actually taking those steps to get there. And I can also say this because I've written in both the fiction and nonfiction space. I've been both self and traditionally published. So I have perspective on both sides of the fences, meaning different fences. And I know what it means to struggle with, well, where should I focus first? What arena is the best one for me? And I want to share with you that this is kind of a multifaceted thing, right? It's not going to be one specific thing for every single person, because each of you have different goals and dreams and visions and all of that. However, when you understand what that end vision is for you and what that goal you want to accomplish is, that will really help you to reverse engineer and decide the best next steps for you to get to that goal. So if your goal is one of where you have multiple ideas and you want to write multiple books, and maybe you even want to become a full-time author or a full-time writer in some other capacity outside of books, then you want to look at the idea that's going to really help you reach your audience, your desired readers that will want to read future books. So maybe that means starting with a book series that you have in mind, where the first book that you write is just the first in the series. And you can use that as a foundation to draw readers in, to start to build your community and your audience and give them subsequent books as they're released. Or maybe even if it's in the nonfiction space, but you have multiple things that you want to pursue with writing, you can use your book as something to leverage your voice and your writing style to demonstrate to others in your space what working with you would look like, or what writing from you would look like, or just showing your expertise and your content on a certain area or subject, so that people that are wanting that type of content will not just enjoy your first book, but will also enjoy subsequent books from you. Maybe something in ministry or something on specific topics, or again, showing your expertise, whether that be like in real estate or in business or in marketing or in skills of life. I've read tons of books on motherhood and keeping your home and on raising children, and I love books like that too. So it's important to understand what that end vision or that end goal for you is, and use that to determine the first idea that you could focus on. And the thing is that many times people think, okay, I get that, but I still have multiple ideas to choose from, particularly in that nonfiction space, or if you have multiple series in mind or something like that. And so the next thing to think about, other than the goal in mind, is to think about the idea that you have the most for. So maybe that means you have the most content. You already have the most clarity around what you're going to say and how you're going to go about writing the book. Or you might also consider the book that would be the easiest for you to write, because it's something that you could talk about for a long time, or you have that expertise, or you've already done previous research or story development or things like that, that you could then take and really adapt that to the page and get that book written. Because the first book is always the biggest hump. And once you understand your own personal writing process, it's easier to adapt that into subsequent books. Of course, each book has its own challenges, but it's important to get through that first one, especially if you have future books you want to write. So that question is, which book do you have the most for that would allow you to get to the end in the shortest amount of time? And the next question to consider, especially if you are wanting to pursue more of a full-time work capacity through your book or with your book or in your writing in some way, is what book could I write that fills a gap in a marketplace where people would need this book? And it kind of makes it timeless, right? Where it's a book that will sell and do well, even as the market grows and changes. So maybe some kind of book in an area of management that you know, or a book that is a devotional, or again, things that are more timeless and that will continue to be needed no matter what happens and what changes. So ask yourself these questions. Look at the ideas that you have and see which of those ideas either matches up with all of those questions or really stands out to you as the book that feels more clear and more readily accomplished after you've considered what I've said in this video. Once you've decided, make sure you share below in the comments and make sure to like and follow for more tips on writing, publishing, and ultimately becoming an author and having that impact and accomplishing that purpose. Remember that your book can change a life.